Jamie, you'll understand this from like an artistic standpoint. So,
Yeah.
do you ever make something, well, like an artwork or whatever, and like you're like, this is easily not good. Like it's just not like my best content or not my best quality. Like I could do better at this. But you show it to somebody anyway because you want opinions and stuff, and they go, yeah, that's great. We really like that. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's a lot of art pieces that I contemplate just like not posting, and when I do, everyone's like, yeah, this is awesome, great, keep up the good work. I'm like, this literally sucks, gang. I don't know what's up, but
yeah, and somehow they see,
I guess.
yeah, somehow they see that in you. And again, I guess, like I said, that's just the inspiration for like this whole video for existing. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar with a very interesting movie. It's called Batman. It's 1989's Batman. It's a little movie.
No, actually, no idea.
It has made not that much money. Only about...
Who's Batman?
Only
Who
about
is this?
400 billion. It's Bruce Wayne. He's a billionaire. His
Good for
parents
him.
died, and now he dresses up like a bat. It's pretty
Oh,
good.
good to know
They
he
made a
has
whole
a
movie
persona.
about it. And it's called Batman 1989, but the 1989 point wasn't there. It was just Batman. Anyway, it grossed about...
It's called Batman 1989.
Yeah, it's exclusively called that. So it
Good for him.
grossed about, you know, like $400 million, which is like pretty good for the time. It was like critically
Yeah,
placed.
bad.
It's got like a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes last time I checked. I haven't checked in a long time, so who knows? So, you know, it's pretty good. Everybody loves it, you know, whatever. And we know that this movie is just iconic. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
Batman Returns, on the other hand, you know, that's the next movie to come out. It only does like $227 million, so it's like almost a half. It got a big old chop.
Wake up!
And it's not like
Yeah.
hated, but somehow it's got a better score than the first Batman on Rotten Tomatoes, like a 79%.
I see.
Yeah, which is very odd to me because I don't necessarily know if that movie's better. The movie's there. I think Danny might have carried that movie. Batman Returns is probably not like the most beloved movie. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's all right. It's not that hated. So then Batman Forever came out, and that was the next movie. So that came out in 1995, and it grossed like $336 million, which is like a lot of money, like compared to the last one, but still not as much as the first one. So it's the fresh middle ground.
Yeah.
And I bet you noticed when watching this movie, hey, this does not feel like any of the past two movies, like at all.
Yeah.
Totally different
Yeah.
director. Yeah, it's like a totally different director guy. His name was Joel Schumacher, and he did that wonderful movie called Batman and Robin that we might have trashed at one point. We don't talk about that. So, given that Joel Schumacher directed Batman Forever, there's a lot of question about what Tim Burton's version of this movie could have been. And,
Yeah.
of course, Tim Burton was very creative with his titles and decided that it should be called, of course, Batman Continues. And so he just, you know, progressing on. We're continuing on. And, of course, Michael Keaton was going to stay on for this or whatever. And Keaton's note, he said this in a 2005 documentary when he was talking about the Dark Knight trilogy, or about Batman Begins at the time. He said that he originally wanted to see, like, the beginning. So he wanted to see... He had seen, like, you know, like the Joker. The Joker gets created or whatever. He's seen that origin. And then he'd seen, like, the darker aspects of Danny DeVito and of Michelle Pfeiffer. So, like, he'd seen, like, that. But how did this guy begin? Keaton really was fascinated with that and really wanted to explore some of that. And some stuff would be used later on in Batman Forever, but that was some stuff that he was very interested in.
Yeah. Understandably so.
I bet you're familiar with this very little restaurant chain. It's not very big at all. It's called McDonald's.
Rocky Road McDonald's!
And
No idea. Never been, actually.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I hear they have a play place at times.
Yeah.
So, McDonald's does the Happy Meal thing, right? They do, like, the toys or whatever. And so, they did, like, the Happy Meal toys for Batman Returns, which is not, like, abnormal. You know, you do them for big movie, superhero movies at the time. This is a big deal. So,
Yeah.
they did them for Batman Returns, and yo, like, the Moms of America group was like, this movie is, like, really bad, like, sexual content and stuff. So, like,
Yeah.
we probably shouldn't, like, let our kids watch this. So, they were really mad at the darkness of Batman Returns. So when going into Batman Forever, that's the whole reason that, like, Tim Burton kind of got shit canned for everything. And then Tim Burton also goes on record saying that he felt like the studio really didn't have interest in him at that point. Like, he walked into a meeting and pitched a whole bunch of ideas, and then at the end of it was like, what do you think? And they were like, that's great, Tim. And then he was like, did you listen to anything I just said? And they were like, sure. And they nodded. And he was like, do you really want me to be here? They went, do you want to be here?
He's definitely an acquired taste.
That is something I have always heard. So, Tim Burton's out, but Keaton's still on, which is like a scary thought, because now that Keaton's still going on, we now know that he doesn't have his best friend making all the calls. So, Tim Burton would be kept on as a quote-unquote producer role, which means that you get to stand in the back and smile and wave sometimes when you really want to. Oh, yeah. So, next up was like the plot of this. We really don't have much of a plot for this movie, sadly. And I don't really know what it was. I think it's just they didn't, like, they never got off the ground with Tim, so he never got a chance to really create his vision. But the cooler stuff, in my opinion, this is just like tidbits that I had picked up, is that a actor called Marlon Wayans, he's known for White Chicks. Have you ever seen White Chicks?
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, he was supposed to be Robin, and they paid him, okay, they paid him $100,000 to be Robin in Batman Returns. Not Batman Forever, Batman Returns. They cut him from the script, and he still made that money, and still makes royalty from Batman Returns, a movie he is not in, to this day. He still makes money.
Good for him.
Fantastic. Whatever con man he was, he did fantastic. Anyway, so he was getting pushed off to then Batman Continues. He was brought on by Tim Burton. Tim Burton wanted to have him, all that good stuff. But he was going to be pushed off to Batman Continues. So Tim Burton was going to bring him back on. Of course, Tim Burton's not there anymore, so they recast, and now Christopher O'Donnell, whatever. Villains are cool. So Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was supposed to be back, which is, you know, I enjoy her. I think she's pretty. I could see her coming back to do stuff. And so she was going to do that. When Keaton left the project, because Keaton was just, he was fed up. He was done with the script. He didn't like it. He didn't enjoy it. And his friends were gone. When he said he wasn't going to do it, that's when Michelle Pfeiffer was like, I'm probably also not going to do it. And then, so then they did like the solo film with, what's her name, Halle Berry. They did, and that was the only remnants of a Catwoman thing, which apparently was based off something Michelle Pfeiffer, like that was the original goal, was to have her do that. And then it went whatever god-awful direction that movie is. I'll never watch it. I refuse.
Yeah, that's understandable. It's not great.
I can't imagine it is good. Next up is a pretty popular one. Billy D. Williams' Two-Face was like the like forefront of this movie. I bet you noticed going through Batman Forever, hey, why is Two-Face white now? And I didn't get it. But of course, Billy D. Williams would famously, he would play Harvey Dent in the first movie. And then he was supposed to be in the second movie. And he was supposed to actually be the Max Schreck character, like the one that owned all of the like hardware stores or whatever.
Yeah.
He was supposed to fit that role somehow. I don't really know how. He's supposed to be like a businessman or something. He's supposed to fit that role. And then you know how Catwoman does like the taser kiss at like the end when she kills him? Okay. So she does the taser kiss, and that was supposed to be him turning into Two-Face. Originally.
See.
And then Batman Continues is him being Two-Face. So, Billy D. Williams only signs one contract. They cut him completely from Batman Returns, and he does not return for Batman Forever. So, that's kind of where we lost him in translation. Of course, we got Tommy Lee Jones, which is absolutely fantastic. I think he's a great actor. I don't think he did great in Batman Forever, but he's a great actor, so that works. Scarecrow was coming back for the millionth time, because I feel like it wouldn't be a Batman video if I didn't mention that they almost cast a Scarecrow. I feel like they were really determined to always bring Scarecrow in. Always. And they just never pulled the trigger for any of these films. Just never. They never did. So, given that those were all the villains, we kind of like kept on going. Oh, there's one more. How did I forget this? So, the Riddler was originally supposed to be in it too, and I know what you're thinking. This is villain overload. It was. They originally had scheduled 4 villains into this thing, which is ridiculous to me.
How long was this film going to be?
Well, see, here's the thing. I like to imagine that it took place over the course of 2 days, And it was a long, tedious process where the musk in the theater slowly built, and it slowly drove you insane.
Got it.
That's what I like to imagine. Anyway, the Riddler.
Anyway, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, fantastic choice. I wish
Good
that...
for him.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yeah, true thing. Robin, man, you know, I miss him. I really do.
I miss him.
Michael Keaton stayed on for a long time, right? He was like, I'm going to trek this out. I'm going to finish this the way I wanted to. And then 1994 came along, late into, like, the pre-production stuff. And he jumped. He's like, I'm done. I have no desire. This just sucks. Other than that one scene where we see Bruce's parents getting murdered, that's the only scene he found value in. And that, I mean, literally, you're doing a whole movie to find that one scene that you find value in. I can't say I blame him. And so we kind of got the train wreck of the movie that was Batman Forever. I've not watched this movie in a while, but I can't imagine that it still holds up in any way, shape, or form. I remember...
Hasn't aged well.
Because I remember I have this vivid image of Jim Carrey being in this like white leotard. And it's like bedazzled. It's like a bedazzled white leotard. And I cannot, like, that thought haunts my image. Anytime I go, hey, maybe I'll try Batman Forever again, I go, white leotard. Can't do it. And so just that movie, I can't imagine that it has anything. And, you know, Batman Continues may not have been perfect because it looks like they were going to do villain overload. But it's very interesting to see what the plan was, because they're clear that there was a plan here. I really appreciate that. I have written here for some reason, I have no idea why, I have that Keaton would vanish and never be heard from again. He does no more movies, weeping after not getting to be Batman again. I have no idea why I have that written down.
Got it.
I can't even tell you when I wrote that down. I have it written down, though. And underneath that, I have Tim Burton would get an attempt to make Superman Lives. But then I wrote by it, or maybe it's Superman Flyby. It's the Kevin Smith one. It's the one where Nicolas Cage is Superman. Before ultimately never making another film again. Lots of weeping. So ultimately, I wrote a fantasy conclusion for both Michael Keaton and Tim Burton where they never make movies again. I feel like that's fantastic. I have no idea why that's in there. I just got to the bottom of the notes. I haven't read the notes in, you know, however long it's 2 years. At the bottom of my notes, I have...
Sometimes you just gotta make up stuff.
Make up stuff. Apparently I was amusing myself, which is all that really matters, I guess.